Hello, everyone. You're watching me, Nikki, you also known as Business Trader, and you are watching the Philippine Market Update. It is March 16, 2021. It's a Tuesday. Let's begin. All right. So you could see that the Philippine market is actually 6,559. It had a breather from yesterday's sell-off, but it still is significantly below a lot of moving averages. So let's see the indices. Is loading. There's a ton of news that I would share. So it's always lengthy in the US, but Philippines, very little news to discuss. Let's see about the index first. So it's 6,559 points. Study the index names. The index names, your market value is very low here, about 5.75 billion pesos. This is an indication of bearishness in the Philippine market as value turnover has slipped by half. You're seeing continuous foreign selling of about 300 million pesos, and the index continues to be in the doldrums. So we could see that although there are some few greens, the overall market is still very much in the downside. Ayala Corporation is 757, BPI is 82.5, BDO is 104.6, URC is 125.5, ICD is 125, PLDT is 1291, FGEN's 31, Mega World's 342, Jollibee's 181.3, Robinson's Retail is 53.5, Pure Gold 34.5, Security Bank 119.5, Robinson's Land is 18, DMC's 524, Metrobank's 45.5. You could see that we have been discussing that these banks are actually more topish when we mentioned that 51 areas for Metrobank was already significant resistance, DO at about 110, BPI at about 88. And you're seeing that happen in the entire financials market in the Philippines. Now let's see the losers for the day. Emperador is 10.2, Lucitan Group's 13, HI is 10, Aboitiz Power is 25, San Miguel Corp is 117, GD Cap is 515, Bloomberry 7, Ayala Lands 35.75, SM Prime 35.5, JG Summit 61, AEV 35.6, SM 1000. So it doesn't surprise me. I hope that it doesn't surprise you. The Philippine market continues to be in the downside. Your Ayala lands at 35 are so much so very expected after hitting a very strong resistance at 41 for both Ayala land and SM Prime. So let's take a look at the stats here. You could see that most people have already sold their Philippine shares, and the only ones that kept on going up are slightly non-index names and very speculative names. However, these speculative names are also lower highs and that got bounces. You could see that Tito Telecom, although it's up 3%, here at about $10 is still 90, about 80% down from its from its 18 to 10. So you could either see it as 10 going 80% to 18, which is unlikely, or 18 going to 10, which is about almost half drop. Your ASEN is now trading at about 7 pesos. BDO is trading at about 104.6. PHA is 2.2, but you really see significant drawdowns, about 40% from your non-index names, your DITOs, your FAS. You have a huge resistance at their current peaks. Your APL is also 50% lower than its all-time peak of about 47 cents. It's now trading at 18.9. So it's the case with your Merrimark, now trading at about 4.65. You could see that all the hot money flows on these speculative names have really gotten out in cash. Your BHI is up 9% here at about 93. So we are seeing that 5.5 has been a strong support. It made a flag and then it's up. So LR warrants is up 13%, now trading at about 206. LR warrants trading at 206, but really it's been a choppy movement for your LR warrants. Metrobank is 45, SM Prime is 35, BPI is 82, SM is 1,000. You could see that overall the markets are very weak. The Philippine markets are overall very weak. Let's take a look at the top gainers. All right, so other than BHI for the day, which is up with 100 million LR warrants, I'd say that predominantly the Philippine market is weak. Now, when you look at the worst losers, what are the biggest losers? You're seeing, there's not a lot of volume on the downside. Index names are slipping, but they're slipping 1%, 2%. It's not like a big drop in a single day. This is interesting. You've got the drop on DWC now trading at about $5. We'll see whether it goes down to 450, etc., etc. Okay, so let's take a look at those names. All right, so DWC topped out at about 7 and then fell here to about 4.25. Has been consolidating on a higher low, still significantly above your 3. We did see a news flow that the MVP Pangilinan Group is looking to partner with Discovery World, although nothing has been set in stone. So you're still seeing this higher lows on that potential partnership. What about BHI? BHI has been doing well quite significantly. You could see that that was your flag and continued higher here at about 8.5 cents. So it looks like these resort owners like Boulevard Holdings with Boracay Resorts, the Fridays Boracay, and your DWC with a lot of resorts in Palawan, Boracay, Siargao. Actually, Cebu has a lot of interested participants. Now, for your index names, although your Ayala Lands and your SM Prime are still falling, do see that maybe 33 or 29 or 30. We'll see how low Ayala Lands can go. But we could see that some people will be interested to buy this on a dip. Now, a little thing about PSEI. So your PSEI is, of course, top picture at about 7.1, 7.2. You do have a lot of supporters here at about 6,000 area or even at about 6.1, 6.2 areas. So although it's not clear whether it will fall, it's really going to be depending a lot on your SM actually falling about $900 here. So I can fall here at about 900 for SM. Do expect your SM Primes and Ayala Lands also fall in Ayala Corps, such that we may get a retest here at about 5.8. Okay, so I think that's it for the Philippine market. Let's go for a few questions, if any. Do we sell ASEN if the average price is 2.7? And if so, when do we buy it back? You can see that the Philippine market is actually showing some signs of distribution for ASEN. It's very clear that ASEN has failed to make new highs. This is the highest high, which is 10.1, and then lower high here about 825. It was very clear that this 755 is being sold out from. And although it's very hard to determine whether you could buy here at about 5 or 6, I'd say that it's a coin toss. It is consolidation here about 7 area, but also it has limited leeway to go up again. So if you're fine to actually take some profits off the side and maybe half or 1/3 and see whether it can go down, you are more flexible. I think that what we would advise is flexibility for your ASEN shares. Nothing wrong in selling some at about 7 pesos, 7.5, whether it goes to 850. But at the same time, there's no assurance that you could buy it at about 5 area, although that would be a more attractive area to get in. Very hard to determine if it will fall. So far, we could only see that you've got a slew of buyers at as high as 6.2. Right, so the lowest has been about 6.39 here for the month, and 6.1 in February. So it might only fall if there will be willing sellers at about 5 to 6, and you could either buy shares at about 5 to 6 if it ever gives an entry, or nothing happens, which is also fine. Okay, there's a lot of news. I'd share it in the U.S. market. So let's talk about that in our global market update. Thank you very much for listening to Philippine market updates. Not a lot of discussion. Philippine markets are just on a downturn. So you need to really wait for the markets to see the COVID vaccines on whether the surging cases in the Philippines can actually be mitigated at some point in the next few weeks. Okay, so that's it. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.